Congressman Nunes, thank you for being here tonight. Good to have you with us this evening. So,
thank you, Martha. Great to be with you.
Thank you. Thank you. Good to have you with us. So talk to me a little bit about the announcement today by Attorney General Bill Barr, who we sort of hinted at this on Friday evening, picking up some signals that he wanted to put out there that he did not at this point see any criminal investigation of President Obama or President Biden. Let's listen to that soundbite and then we'll get your reaction.
Okay.
As to President Obama and Vice President Biden, whatever their level of involvement, based on the information I have today, I don't expect Mr. Durham's work will lead to a criminal investigation of either man. Our concern over potential criminality is focused on others.
So what's your takeaway from that, sir?
Well, as you know, we've been running our own investigation, House Republicans have, for 3.5 years, and we've made our own criminal referrals. We have not. I don't want to get into who we've specifically criminally referred, so I don't want to play this cat and mouse game, so to speak, but I can tell you that we have not referred either Biden or Obama. So, I'll kind of leave it at that, I guess.
So it sounds like your thinking and your investigation lines up with what they're seeing at the Department of Justice as well. I guess one of the questions that people would have about that is, assuming that there are investigations ongoing of others, and actually here's a soundbite from a discussion that I had with Bill Barr, the Attorney General, back in December about that when I was trying to get some information on who might be on that criminal list. Watch this. All right, so that's coming. So with regard to that, I guess my original question was, if we, you have to think about who gave the order, right? So if some of these individuals in our intelligence agencies were involved, were they just doing these investigations and, taking the dossier into account and looking at all of this and pushing through these FISA requests without anyone above them suggesting that that would be an okay thing to do?
Well, the way that I like to describe this is I kind of break it down into different buckets for people. If you just came here from another galaxy and you said, what on earth happened in the United States of America where the intelligence agencies have gotten turned in upside down and used against the American people, used against a political party, okay? So you have pre-July 30th, 2016. Why is that important? That is important because that's the day officially we were told by high-ranking FBI and DOJ officials that they opened this investigation, and essentially nothing had occurred before that. Now, we know that's not true. We know the Clinton campaign was working with dirty operatives and dirty cops and others to dirty up Trump campaign associates. Okay, so we know that they're running a parallel investigation at that time. Officially, then, you have what occurs after July 30th until Donald Trump is elected and effectively sworn in. During that time period, you have tech cuts. You have information that just disappeared. Exculpatory evidence, so to speak, on Papadopoulos, on Page, on the entire Trump campaign. We now know also exculpatory evidence on General Flynn with the closing communication that was finished but never filed. So you have that area of time. And then you have after Donald Trump is sworn in with the entire Mueller team and the Mueller fiasco and all of the malfeasance that occurred during that time frame. So I look at those three periods, and people have to remember it's not that Obama or Biden are innocent in this. The question is, did they commit any crime? And, we've run a serious investigation. We're the only committee and we're the only government agency, for that matter, other than Inspector General Horowitz, to run a serious investigation. And we have to actually look at the statutes that are on the books in order to make criminal referrals.
And I think that's exactly what I'm hearing in what Attorney General Barr is saying. He's saying, we don't, he works the same way. And if he doesn't have any reason to do a criminal investigation, then it's not going to go down that road. And we know that we're waiting for John Durham. When, you say you're not willing to.
I think that's the key, Martha. What you just hit the nail on the head there is that, is that it's really not, it's about what's on the books and what law was broke. We may wish that some people could serve some time because they maybe knew things that were happening that were not right, but that doesn't mean they broke the law.
So you are not ready to talk about who you think there are criminal investigations after in this process. Of course, some of the typical names that have been discussed a lot in all of this, because their names are all over some of these directives, are the people who did the unmasking, perhaps also James Clapper, John Brennan. Here's what John Brennan had to say when he was asked about whether or not he's getting concerned about this at this point.
I feel very good that my tenure at CIA and my time at the White House during the Obama administration was I was not engaged in any type of wrongdoing or activities that caused me to worry about what this investigation may uncover. So I welcome the opportunity to talk with the investigators. I have nothing to hide.
So he's saying he doesn't think he crossed that criminal line anywhere either.
Yeah, so let me walk you through. We made 2 referrals based on conspiracy, in the conspiracy to break many crimes, most importantly, defrauding the United States of America. One on what we call manipulation of intelligence. Clearly, some of that intelligence came from the intelligence agencies themselves, including the CIA. So, I have no idea if Director Brennan was witting or unwittingly of what happened there, but people did conspire to do things that were wrong. We also made a conspiracy referral based on the whole FISA debacle and getting a FISA warrant against the Trump campaign. I don't know exactly what he knew at that time. Now, what do we know about what Brennan knew at the time? We know from Harry Reid that he briefed Harry Reid on the dossier, the so-called Steele dossier, the dirt, the Clinton dirt. So, I don't know where he got it from. I'm not sure exactly what he did with it, but those are questions maybe that he would have to answer to Durham. Now, just because we made those criminal referrals on conspiracy, those 2 referrals on conspiracy, doesn't mean that that's what Durham's looking at, because Durham, unlike Mueller, is running a real investigation here. And he's doing it really by the book. And we know that because things aren't leaking. There's not 3 a.m. raids, going to people's houses just for misleading Congress. So those are the questions. And I would just add on to that. We have a global leaks referral that really focuses on leaks that seem to only go to one place. Now, that doesn't mean there was only one person within the government that leaked that information, but we're hopeful that someone can get to the bottom of who was leaking to a very few specific group of people.
And that indeed would have the potential of carrying some criminal element with it as well. You said there are other people who were unmasked and that you want to look into that and investigate that besides General Flynn. Who are those?
Well, the way that I look at this, too, on the unmasking is that what was occurring, and if you remember, when I went out publicly and said that this unmasking was occurring, this is way back at the beginning of 2017, we knew that Flynn had been treated wrongly. We knew that information was getting out into the press. But we also had people that had come to us and said that, look, we think this is occurring everywhere. And what I was able to find just through a quick cursory look was that we noticed dozens of reports that if it said Trump or Trump transition official, those were being unmasked. And so, this is not really anything new that we haven't talked about in the past that we knew. It's just that it was covered up by the media. That's really the problem here. I went out and publicly said this, and my reward for that was being accused of leaking information to the White House. So, I spent time trying to clear my name on this.
You were lambasted. You were called every name in the book by a lot of folks who now seem to be somewhat silent or not spending a whole lot of time on this story anymore, which is interesting in and of itself. Devin Nunes, Congressman, thank you. Good to see you tonight.
Thank you, Martha. Thank you.